King Charles declined a meeting this week with the Epstein survivors, so some of them and advocates just held a public discussion focused on the realities of sex trafficking and the ways Congress can better protect survivors.
We need to make sure that the men who abused, raped, or trafficked these girls are facing investigations and prosecutions.
If we bring trafficking out of the shadows, if we close the gaps traffickers rely on, and if we legislate based on how exploitation actually unfolds, then we don't just respond to trafficking, we prevent it.
The statute of limitations absolutely needs to change. Second thing is, I do believe that we need victims' rights advocates in rooms and spaces with young survivors.
Survivors do not need more promises. They need enforcement, accountability, and action.
Joining us now, one of the advocates who attended that roundtable event, Sarah Ziff, Executive Director of the Model Alliance. Thank you for being here. Sarah, what are you hoping comes out of the conversation that was held today?
Well, I was so honored to join the conversation that was hosted by Representative Khanna and join survivors and advocates in pushing for an investigation, a proper investigation, because we know that there are a lot of questions that need to be answered and people who need to be held accountable.
Ro Khanna, who you just mentioned, led today's discussion. He had invited King Charles to take part, but the king declined. He says, according to Buckingham Palace, there are ongoing police inquiries surrounding his brother Andrew, so he is not speaking about it. But if Charles did go, what would you have said to him? How do you think he can help the cause?
Well, I think we're looking for a concrete way to address trafficking and assault. And my organization advances labor rights in the fashion industry. Unfortunately, a lot of the survivors of Epstein were working or aspiring models. And so there's really no better place to start than by looking at the $2.5 trillion global industry that acted as a recruitment and referral pipeline for predators. And I just think the fact that he's not meeting with survivors is a reminder of just how little accountability there's been writ large when it comes to Epstein and all of the powerful people associated with him.
Sky and Amanda Roberts, family members of the late Virginia Giuffre, as you know, were there today. Virginia had accused former Prince Andrew of sexual abuse, although he denies any wrongdoing. MS Now spoke to Sky Roberts after the roundtable, and here's what he said his message would be to King Charles.
I think it's less about like the direct messaging and more about that moment to show unity with survivors. All we needed from the king is to look us in the eye, shake our hands, and let us know that there was going to be a fair investigation into this. And we, naturally Virginia and obviously former Prince Andrew and the accusations against him, and that's his brother and that's my sister. I mean, it's a natural moment for us to come together in unity and show like both the UK and the people of the United States that we're on this side not backing down, but that we have the support of a king and of a country, and that's a meaningful moment, and it really is truly a missed opportunity.
I wonder what your impression is of the importance of advocates, the importance of support, the importance of, maybe to put it very simply, showing up for these folks who have been fighting, many times feeling like fighting alone for such a long time.
Yeah, it was really moving, honestly, to be in that room. I kind of got a little choked up when I was there listening to Sky and Amanda Roberts talk about Virginia and her legacy. And it's just remarkable that 1 year, at the 1 year anniversary of her death, we're still just calling for the basics, an investigation into what happened and this system that enabled powerful people to prey on young, vulnerable girls.
You've called for a congressional probe specifically into the role modeling agencies may have played in the Epstein scandal, and you brought it up. But what vulnerabilities do you think that could uncover? And do you believe addressing it could reduce the risk facing young models moving forward, just starting with the awareness out there?
Absolutely. We need to bring these practices to light. The modeling industry is a big global industry that relies heavily on young teenage girls who are incredibly vulnerable. And they're vulnerable, actually, to the people who are supposed to be protecting them. They're agencies that have long gone unregulated. These agencies hold power of attorney. They're often the model's landlord, their visa sponsor, and their gatekeeper to opportunity. And so it's just a no-brainer, especially if you read through the files and you see how much evidence there is of wrongdoing in the modeling industry and the roles that those executives played, that there would be a proper investigation into this system.
Sarah Zeth, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate you.